I'm Andrew Bremer. I'm a planner with MSA Professional Services. We've been hired by the county to help with the update of the corp, and with me tonight is my colleague.
Dan Borkert, out of the MSA Marshfield office, do a lot with the planning and project engineering on a lot of the projects, so.
Thanks, Dan. So tonight is mostly about gathering additional input from you folks here. We are going to just touch on a little bit what this project is and then our schedule, kind of where things sit right now. I'll review some of the highlights of the community survey, and then I'll explain some of the activity stations that you had a chance to kind of walk by as you came in tonight. So comprehensive outdoor recreation plan, it's essentially sort of like a capital improvement plan. It's a plan to guide future investment in the county parks. They're typically updated on a 5-year basis. Sometimes that can stretch out a little bit longer. The last one was adopted in 2007, so we generally see communities or counties adopting plans every 5 to 10 years. And there's a couple reasons communities do these. One is it's just good to have an overall vision, direction. Where are you headed? What are your priorities in terms of investment? That helps on an annual basis when the Parks Commission and the county board are going to budget for capital improvements. They have a plan that they can use to guide an annual decision. The second reason communities often put together a corp is if they're seeking grant funding, either state or federal grant funding, to implement a project. Oftentimes those grant programs require you to have a corp and that project be in the corp. So they want to see that you've done some due diligence. This isn't just something that you just thought up 2 weeks ago and now you're going to submit for a grant, but that you've given it some thought. And there's been some community input in setting a direction in terms of, yes, this is an investment that we want to make. Just briefly in terms of content of the plan, and we really just kind of summarize this. It's a lot of gathering feedback, public feedback through the survey, through park commission meetings, through meetings like this. We do some planning level data analysis, some comparisons to similar counties in terms of number of park acreage per capita, those sorts of things. We set some general high-level goals, objectives, and policy statements, some things that sort of set a foundation for the plan. And then we list strategies and recommendations in the plan and try to put some priority to those in terms of high, medium, low, when they might be implemented, and so forth. So that's sort of the general breakdown of content that goes into the plan. In terms of schedule, we really kind of started this project at the beginning of the year where we began sort of our initial data collection phase, and then we had some kickoff meetings with staff and the Parks Commission and put together the community survey. Now we've kind of transitioned into second phase of gathering public input, doing some of that data analysis. So we had our park survey, we have our meeting tonight. We'll then sort of transition into analyzing all that feedback that we get and then starting to develop some preliminary recommendations for potential improvements in the park system. Looking back first at sort of what did we say we wanted to do in the last plan and how much of that got accomplished, how much of that is still relevant, what sort of new input have we received through this planning process. As we transition into the fall, we'll be kind of putting that whole plan together, and then towards winter, then we'll be moving towards plan review and plan adoption. So, just an overview map if you aren't familiar with all of the parks in the county or the forest units. There they all are. Survey. So, show of hands, how many people took the online survey? Very good. We had, in total, just shy of 1,200 responses to our online survey. Tonight I'm going to give you just a snapshot of results. First question we had on a scale of 0 to 100, how important do you think the county's parks, forest units, trails, and recreation facilities are to the quality of life in the county? Average rating 91%, so just sort of taking the pulse with these first couple of questions. Obviously people feel that the parks are very important to the quality of life in the county. Similar on a scale of 0 to 100, how satisfied are you with the county's current variety of parks or forest units, trails, and recreational facilities? So there we're at 75%, so we're still rating pretty good. And that one again is variety. And then the last one was 0 to 100, how satisfied are you with the quality of those parks? And again, that one was at 75%. We asked people to provide some input in terms of what type of amenities they would like to see added, improved, expanded, and really we said that could be by any entity. Maybe it may not necessarily be the county. The county may not be the right person in every instance, but there was a list of potential recreation projects or types of improvements. You could mark up to 7. The one that received the most clicks was the hiking trails, then followed by camping areas, camping support facilities, restrooms, canoe and kayak facilities, paved trails, wildlife habitat, mountain bike trails, river and shoreline restoration, on down the line. And so we get down towards the last one there, lighted trails and other are all ones that received at least 10%, at least 10% of the respondents mark that as part of their top 7 preferences. We asked how often people have visited a park or forest unit in the past year. So a lot of usage. Those respondents that took the survey have been out using the parks. And if you didn't use the park in the past year or a forest unit, we asked them to tell us why that is. And the highest rated response there was actually other, and in most cases it was due to a lack of time, which is unfortunate, but that's sometimes the world we live in. The other then ranks, or the next second highest was lack of amenities of interest, or that the park was too far from the home. And then how often over the past year did you or someone in your household visit or use recreational facilities at the following county parks? So here we were just looking to kind of drill down another level and just kind of see where people are going, how frequently they're going to various parks. And so, we have our first column here. Oh, my laser died. First column, 13 or more time, 13 or more visits per year. And so you see some of those that rank pretty high there. East Bay Sports Complex, 13%, Marathon Ice Arena, 12%, Marathon, other than some of the other specific places in Marathon Park, 15%. So those are getting people that are going almost on at least a monthly basis. And then we broke it down into 6 to 12 visits a year, 1 to 5, 0 visits in the past year, and then a weighted average is that last column. And so there's basically, as you see them here, they're sorted based on how frequently individuals are visiting each of those parks.
Question is, what is 9 Mile? Is that in one of those parks, or is it not considered a park?
It's the next slide, ma'am.
Thank you.
Way to cue me up. We separated out for forest units how often they visit. And so there you see 9 Mile ranks the highest in terms of weighted average and also in terms of number of respondents saying they go there at least once a month or more, throughout the year, on average.
How do you arrive at that weighted average? Because if you look at that last column, it doesn't look like there's much difference between 9 Mile and Miller, and obviously there is.
Yeah, the weighted average in this case, I think, is a 3-2-1-0 factor to those, so you can look at this and say, well, I give more weight to 13 or more times, but that just helps to sort of organize them.
So it's just a way to rank order them?
Yeah, it's just a snapshot to see if you had to kind of look across and add up all four, how do you kind of weight that? And that's what the weighted average is.
But I kind of agree with him, that doesn't really look like a weighted average, it goes, there, that bottom one and the top one.
Yeah, it's weighted based on a 3-2-1-0 for those responses.
Andrew, can you go back to that one slide real quick though? I just wanna, I think this is an opportunity, cause that question came up. We have to do more education from a county standpoint, in that 9 Mile is a county forest and not a county park. And so they're managed very differently in what we can have at 9 Mile versus what we have at our park facilities, so, I don't know, I guess just from, most people in here might know it's a county forest, but how many in here did not know it's a county forest and thought it was a park? So, a good amount, so, and I think, you know, if our countywide, a lot of people think that that's a park, and so maybe that's something we need to, through this process, educate
What is the
more.
difference?
A county forest has special regulations, and I don't know, Tom, if you wanna,
By the state?
it's managed by a forest law.
Okay.
So
State
with that,
statute.
there's certain uses that are allowed in it, such as hunting is allowed there, but hunting is not allowed in our county parks. Do you wanna add anything, Tom? He's our forest administrator.
Yeah, so there's a state statute that governs county forests, and there's certain things, as Jamie pointed out, that are, mandatory that we must do, like hunting and fishing, hiking has to be allowed in those, county forests. But, again, timber management is a goal that's high up on the list. And if you look at the county parks, that may not be a high goal in county parks, but it is in the county forest. So there's different things that we do on county forests and in county parks. There's two separate goals and objectives for the two areas.
Both are managed by the county.
Both are managed by our.
Who determines what is a forest and what is a park?
There's county forest has got a, county forest law that you must enroll the land into the law.
This was established quite a while ago.
This was established back in, good question, it was established back, several years ago, when there was a lot of tax delinquent land back in the 40s and 50s. We had about 45,000 acres of tax delinquent lands
In Marathon County.
in Marathon County, and about half of that was sold back to the public, that the public wanted to buy back. And our initial entry of county forest lands was in '67, and that was about 23,000 acres.
And today,
Today we have just over 30,000.
Gary?
Isn't there a designation called special use area within the county forest that pertains to carbon tree?
Yeah, so there's regular county forest and special use county forest. The regular county forest has got certain regulations that we must, follow, certain things that we must do. Special use county forest allows us to manage certain areas within certain boundaries differently and have, recreation or, some other activities that may be, more important there in those certain areas.
Thanks, I just thought that was an opportunity to clarify.
Yeah,
that.
you bet.
I got a question, back up to number 7, question 7. I'm a town supervisor of, Bridge Falls, and of course, our park there, we've been waiting for many years for it to be finished. And, we don't want it to get forgotten about, since supposedly county concrete or materials is done, we believe, excavating their material out of there. So, and I talked to Jamie a little bit today, I just wanted to bring this up here to some of the rest of yous here. by looking at the visits, at the Parker is extremely a very long ways from being finished, And, according to that, the visits in the past year is up to, 73%. Well, I find that pretty amazing for a park that is not finished.
Zero visits.
Zero.
Huh?
Zero visits.
73, 0.
Oh, I'm over zero, zero visits.
Nobody came.
Oh, well, okay. I'm sorry, I misunderstood it then.
But we did not differentiate.
27% in now.
Yeah, but we did not differentiate on here between finished and unfinished
Right.
parks, so we'll take that into account in the comments, and we know, we'll have that as part of our outdoor recreation plan too, is those parks that aren't finished, or maybe partially finished, and what our plan is to get those moving along.
Yeah.
It would be interesting if you had the N on here, the number of responses. I would assume that more people responded to the East Bay Sports Complex as opposed to Red Falls.
Mhm.
If that N number is substantially different, all you have is numbers, it's math. Not very much of a picture of what's going on.
See, because the issue that we have, if I may say, is we have a lot of people going down there fishing, and since it's not completed, they're going down fishing, and it's not safe because it's undermined,
Right.
the excavation is undermined within the water. So the police are down there quite often chasing people out, and people are getting upset, and they come to the town board, and they
Okay.
complain to us, and so on and so on, so that's why I'm here, and that's why I was just kind of rattling on here that there is a lot of concern. Anyway, the people that are getting chased away, there is a lot of concern for things to move ahead.
Sure.
Okay.
So, let's roll through the last couple ones here. So do you or members of your household commonly at least 4 times per year drive somewhere outside of Marathon County to use the same specific park, recreation facility, or program? About 50% yes, about 50% no, and you just see a few of the more common ones that we saw as we're still digesting all of the comments in the survey. Which of the following recreational activities do you and your family participate at county parks, forest units, and trails? Again, so you see hiking, rating the highest, walking, biking, camping, swimming, down the line. Question 11, how satisfied are you with the appearance, maintenance, cleanliness, safety, and accessibility of the parks, forest units, and trails? And so in this case, you see the blue bar is the satisfied, and the brown is the very satisfied, so pretty much high ratings across the board there for that question. How do you feel about the current program and facility fees charged directly to you by Marathon County Parks Department? Only 3% saying fees are underpriced for the value received. The majority, 70%, indicating fees are acceptable for the value received. 11% fees are too high for the value received. And then about 16% not sure. How would you direct future funding for county park, forest unit, trail, recreation facility improvements? So again, sort of a weighted scale. In this case, highest here is improving the condition of current parks. One of the ones that rated.
What do those numbers represent? 2.19.
Again, it's a weighted scale.
So 2 people?
No, it's not 2 people. It's just a weighting of scale in terms of.
So more
each one of
people
those.
improve the condition of.
Yeah, that got cut off, and that's my apology for that, but that's improve the condition of existing county parks. As opposed to one of the first ones there, first couple are acquiring land for new parks. And then the last one was related to recreational programming. Indicate if anyone in your household has a need for different types of recreational programs. First question was yes or no, and then the follow-up was, well, is that for youth, adult, or both? So a few of them that ranked where the yes vote ranked more than the high, exercise and fitness, walking and hiking club, community events. And then within those three, we're seeing adult in both, ranking high under the exercise. The walking, again, the same, adult in both. And again, on the community events, both ranking the highest there. So this is some early feedback from the survey. We have closed the survey, again, we had 1,200 responses. We are still digesting that much material. It's a lot. So those are just some of the initial feedback results that we got. The remainder of the night is to gather your input, and we have a few different ways of doing that tonight. And so the rest of this activities tonight is all sort of an open house format for you to move around to different activity stations.
So before we dive into that, from the county's perspective and MSA's perspective, what surprised you most out of the survey results?
I'm not even prepared to answer that yet, having not gotten through all of that content
But
yet.
nothing jumped out at you as you know, you're just compiling everything and, oh, that was strange?
Again, I don't wanna say anything yet on that.
What about the county?
We've only seen this so far.
Yep, this is the unveiling.
presentation.
So we just closed the survey and started putting this together, so,
Question, are you
Yes.
having public hearings in other parts of the county?
staff has, gone to a few, I think you went to a few towns
I went
meetings.
to two town board meetings and really just given an update on kind of where we were at with our department and then giving, you know, information about tonight's meeting to see if they wanted to come. We don't at this time have any other plans. I mean, this is our first community meeting to get input, and we need to see what the survey results are and stuff too, but, I guess at this point we haven't had, although I did throw it out to all of our county board supervisors that if any of them wanted me to come or someone from my staff to come to any of their town board meetings, we'd be happy to come, and so that's why, Ms. Seiler asked me to come to two of hers, so I did, and, I haven't been taken up on anybody else to ask to come to any of the other ones, but I would be more than willing to come and talk to any township, town board, city council, and give them an update or gather feedback or get information on how. We also did ask all of for the survey, we reached out to all of the clerks in the county, to have the information out during elections, so that people got information on, that they could go online and complete the survey. I know a few did it, and a few local communities sent it out on their Facebook page and helped us that way too, but I don't know exactly who all helped us out in that area.
Okay.
How many possible responders were there?
How many possible?
How many possible responders?
That's a big number, what?
So
The
what
county
percent-
population
what
plus,
percent did you get?
well, what's the
1%?
county population right now, 100 and?
100,000.
Yeah, so it would-
82,000,
Oh, excuse me?
1%, not one.
not 1%, less than 1.
Well, 1% on 100,000.
Yeah, 1,200,
So
I think.
that's what we're basing our comments on.
One, I can tell you that 1,200 is a lot of survey responses. It takes a lot of effort to get that many. The more you add to that, beyond that at that point, is probably not moving the needle much on any of those, responses. Two, the survey is not the only aspect of how we collect information. So we collect information through the survey, we collect information through this meeting, other meetings, through staff, through local officials, through looking at our past plans. So no one particular aspect drives the process. We take all that information together. In terms of your opportunity to provide comment tonight, we have different activities. There's a comment sheet. It's over right by Jamie over there, if you didn't pick one up. We have, at each of these tables, we have aerial maps of all of the county parks and all of the forest units. And you'll find pens around the table. You'll also find these pre-numbered dots. And what we're asking you to do is, if you feel like there's a particular improvement that you would like to see at a particular county park, that you can take and peel off one of these numbered dots, and you can put it on the map if it's specific to a location on that map. There might be some type of improvement, you'd like to see it right there. And so whatever that number is, in this case I have number 445, I would put that number in the circle here, and then write what your comment is, or what improvement you'd like to see, or what addition you'd like to see. If it's not necessarily specific to an exact location, you can simply put that comment down, and you can say, at 9 Mile Forest Unit, I'd like to see this improvement, if it's not necessarily tied to a specific location. You can use more than one of these. There's a front and back, so there's 4 on the front. On the back side, there's also a place to describe new parks and forest units. So perhaps you think that there's a particular area in the county where a new park should be developed. And if so, we want to know the location of that. So again, put a numbered dot on that map and write that comment down. This last table over here, closest to me in the corner, has a map of the entire county
Oh, good.
on it. It has all of the existing parks and forest units on it. And so that's a good table to go to if you're thinking about, hey, I think there's an area in the county that we should consider building a new county park. That's also a good table for another activity on the sheet. If there's a trail connection you'd like to see from one park to another park, or from a community to a park. There's markers over there. We don't mind if you draw on the map. You can also just put the number on the map and just indicate, from here to here is where I think this type of trail, it could be an off-road bike trail, maybe it's a snowmobile trail, ATV trail, whatever that trail is, let us know that. And then at the very bottom on the back side, here is this place for other comments, other ideas that you have for improving the park system, other investments that you'd like to see.